Have you ever been sitting in traffic, looked around, and just felt nothing? You're surrounded by cars, sure, a sea of silver, gray, and white crossovers that, if you took the badges off, you'd have a hard time telling apart. You're sitting in a climate-controlled cabin, staring at a screen the size of a movie theater ticket booth, completely insulated from the world you're supposed to be driving through. The steering is light, the ride is silent, and everything is easy. And that's great most of the time, but sometimes don't you just crave something real? Something with a bit of grit? A machine that doesn't try to be everything to everyone, but instead is unapologetically, stubbornly itself. A vehicle that feels less like a computer on wheels and more like an honest-to-goodness tool. A partner in adventure. Well, if that feeling resonates with you, then you need to wind the clock back. Way back. Past the era of touchscreens and lane keep assist. Past the birth of the modern SUV, back to one of its ancestors. Today, we're talking about a vehicle that is as simple, original, and honest as a truck gets. We're talking about a 1966 Dodge D100 Town Wagon. This isn't just some old truck. This is a Mopar alternative to the legendary International Travelall or the Chevrolet Suburban of the day. It's a direct ancestor to the Dodge Durango. You see on the roads today, but my goodness, they couldn't be more different. The modern Durango, even after being on the market for over a decade, has a bit of an old-school charm, maybe with its available Hemi V8 Thunder. But this town wagon is from a different universe entirely. Recently, a particularly beautiful example of a '66 town wagon popped up for sale on Bring a Trailer, and it's the perfect specimen to understand what these vehicles were all about. It's a truck-based utility vehicle, and that's the key right there. This isn't a car that's been lifted and given some plastic cladding. This is a truck, through and through, that has been configured to carry people. The first thing you notice about it is the styling. Even though it's a 1966 model, it looks like it rolled right out of the 1950s. The fenders are separate, pronounced bulges. The headlights are simple, round and wide set in a plain grille that just says Dodge. There are no aggressive angles, no fancy aerodynamic swoops. It has a friendly, almost dopey face. It's a big, lovable galoot of a truck, a passenger-carrying version of Dodge's commercial panel van from that time. And in an era of automotive design that often screams for attention, there is something profoundly confident in this machine's simplicity. Now, to understand the town wagon, you have to understand the world it was built for. In the mid-1960s, most American families got around in a sedan or a station wagon, and for driving on the newly expanding interstate highway system, they were perfect. But what if your destination wasn't on the interstate? What if you had a family, cabin deep in the woods, down a rutted forestry road? Or what if you needed to haul a small league's worth of baseball gear over a bumpy field? That's where a vehicle like this came in. A standard Chevy Impala or Ford Galaxy station wagon would scrape its driveshaft clean off on a road this Dodge would barely notice. This was purpose-built utility. And that utility is most obvious when you open the doors. This example has 2 rows of simple, durable bench seating. And the cargo space behind that second row is massive, even with a full-size spare tire tucked. Inside, you could probably fit a washing machine back there. You can just picture it, can't you? Crammed to the headliner with canvas tents, fishing rods, coolers, and everything a family would need for a summer spent at some lonely, beautiful cabin by a lake. There are no heated or cooled cup holders here. There's just space. Glorious, usable, practical space. Whether you're hauling surfboards to the beach or half a hardware store to a job site, this big Dodge has the room you'll need. It's a rolling embodiment of function over form. So, what makes this big rig move? It's not a fire-breathing Hemi. Under that simple hood lies one of the most legendary engines Chrysler ever produced, the 225 cubic inch Slant 6. Why Slant 6? Because the engine block is literally canted over at a 30-degree angle. This wasn't just for show. It allowed for a lower hood line and made room for a more efficient intake and exhaust manifold design. When it was new, this engine produced a humble 140 horsepower and 215 pound-feet of torque. Now, in today's world, 140 horsepower might sound like what you'd find in a subcompact car, but you're missing the point. This engine isn't about 0 to 60 times. It's about torque. It's about reliability. The Slant 6 is famously durable. It's known as the engine that will run forever with just basic maintenance. It's an engine that will loaf around town all day, haul a heavy load without complaint, and ask for nothing in return. It is the definition of a workhorse. And how do you control that power? With a good old 3-on-the-tree manual transmission. For anyone under 40, that means the gear shifter's on the steering column. It's a tactile mechanical experience that connects you directly to the machine. There are no computers deciding the best gear for you. There's only you, your hand, and your foot on the clutch, working in harmony with the engine. Driving this isn't a passive activity. It demands your attention, your participation. It makes you a driver, not just an operator. This particular auction pick is so special because it's so original. It still rolls on the factory steel wheels with the classic Dodge logo hubcaps. The engine is the one it left the factory with. Sure, some necessary mechanical work has been done over the years, new seals, a rebuilt carburetor, servicing the brakes and the clutch, but that's just responsible ownership. It hasn't been hot-rodded or turned into some custom monstrosity. It's an honest survivor. And finding a town wagon at all is rare. Finding one in this kind of original running condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. You know, it's not a woody wagon, but looking at its sun-kissed paint and its vast interior, you can't help but think of it as the perfect surf wagon. The recent passing of the Beach Boys' genius, Brian Wilson, has had a lot of us playing those classic summer anthems. And this truck feels like it was born from that same era of American optimism. It's ready to be loaded up with longboards. And friends, windows down, heading for the coast. It's a vehicle that's all about the destination, but also about making the journey itself an adventure. It makes you think about what we've gained and what we've lost. The modern Durango can offer you a 10-inch Uconnect screen, a 19-speaker, sound system, and a 0 to 60 time that would leave this town wagon in the dust. But it can't offer you this. It can't offer you the feeling of every bump in the road through the solid front axle. It can't offer you the smell of old vinyl and gasoline. It can't offer you the satisfaction of perfectly rev matching. Hew a downshift on a column-mounted shifter. This Dodge Town Wagon is more than a classic car. It's a time machine. It's a statement. It's a reminder that the most rewarding experiences in life often come without fancy features or digital interfaces. They come from simple, honest, well-built things that do their job with character and style. So, what do you think? Would you trade a modern SUV for a classic slice of Americana like this town wagon? Let us know down in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you enjoyed this trip back in time, do us a huge favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. Feel free to share this video with a friend who appreciates old-school iron and honest-to-goodness trucks. Most importantly, if you want to see more stories about incredible classic vehicles like this one, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.